Thank you for tuning in to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Please subscribe to our weekly Boston Bruins hockey talk on listening platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, and Spotify Podcasts. We'd certainly appreciate it if you give our show a 5-star rating along with a written review. You can also subscribe to our official YouTube channel for a video version of our weekly program. If you'd like to support our show financially, please go to our blackandgoldhockey.com website and click on our affiliated Fanatics banner before shopping online. Another way to financially support our weekly program is to become a Patreon member to be eligible for weekly Boston hockey prizes and monthly Boston Bruins hand-signed jersey giveaways. Please go to patreon.com/blackandgoldhockeypodcast and donate just $1 per episode. Many thanks for the continued support and enjoy the show.
Behind that, the Sanderson, Orr! Bobby Orr! Orr from the Boston Bruins!
30 seconds left in the period. The Bruins are shorthanded. Ray Bourque.
Ray Bourque from the face-off circle to the right of Reggie Lemon. Fired it down and Whitmore threw it. Did he ever? To Virgil on the drive, save, rebound, he's loose, saving, kicks him loose, Bergeron scores! The Bruins pulls it on, with the point of the dagger in their throats, they rip it out into Orr's hands, and kill the beast! The Boston Bruins have won it, after being 3 down in the third!
What's up, Bruins fans? Welcome back to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. This is episode 296, and it's brought to you by betonline.ag. Please go to betonline.ag and use the code CLNS50. We'd certainly appreciate that. It is the off-season, and it continues, and we're still here. Unbelievable. We cannot get away from you people, and you guys can't get away from us, and that's a good thing. But I will tell you right now that the first preseason game is 13 days away, 7 hours and 54 minutes, while the first Bruins game of the 22-23 season is 31 days away. So I got the ticker going right here. Got all this fun stuff right there. So, yeah, hockey's coming real quick. But joining me today is Kevin O'Keefe. Kevin, what's up, my friend?
Not much, man. Just I'm excited. The season's literally almost here. I mean, it feels like just yesterday they lost in Game 7 to Carolina. It's wild how quick it goes. But yeah, I'm just really excited, and I've had a pretty good week, relaxing. Other than allergies kicking my ass a little bit, it's that season's here, and of course I get hit by them, like ridiculously. I don't know about you, but
same here. We're going through a hacking these times when you hack up some nasty shit, and
yup.
You know, it is that time of year, but that's just a warning to let us know that hockey season's right around the corner.
Right. When I start hucking up some frickin' loogies from my post-nasal drip, I know hockey's here. As gross as that may sound to you viewers, I mean,
I'm like, that's a gold color. Bees, baby. All right, but anyway, before we get into the hockey talk, I do want to, it is September 11th, and I do want to have a little bit of a remembrance for all of those who were lost on that horrific day. 8 EMTs/paramedics, 60 police officers, 343 firefighters, 2,997 civilians will all be remembered on this day 21 years ago. So this episode 296 is dedicated to all who were lost on September 11th, and I'd like to take this moment and have a moment of silence. All right. Thank you, everybody, for doing that. And it was just what a terrible. I can't even believe it's 21 years. It just, the time has gone by so fast, and it's never easy today for anybody, and I continue to think and have positive thoughts about all those who continue to grieve, for the almost 4,000 people that were lost on that day. So
I feel like you never forget where you were too when it happened.
yeah,
Anyone who was of age to be able to actually have memory back to that day. I mean, I know for myself, I remember I was sitting in my 5th grade classroom. It was my reading class with Mr. Sullivan, and he was a war vet. And out of nowhere, he just started bawling his eyes out and just started telling us exactly what's happening. And I'll never forget it. It was a very tragic day, and I'm saddened for anybody who was immediately affected by that day and lost somebody to it. And I am thankful for those who were able to be there to help out and even save some lives, and the heroes who risked their lives to save lives. It was a very tough day. So,
yep. I was working at a job. I'm not going to mention the company, but I used to build commercial sized dehumidifiers, and for like pharmaceutical companies and so on, because you need to take the moisture out of the air on some of these processes that when they make pills and so on. And I was on top of a unit putting some Unistrut on for some electrical work, and just you can hear people running up and down the aisles of the company just saying, they're gonna kill us all and blah blah blah. And I was just like, what the hell is going on? And then we all had a meeting and so on, and then they told everybody what was actually happening. So yeah, it was not a very good day at all. But we continue to remember everyone that was lost and those that are continue to grieve. So it just sucks. I hate this time of year every year since that happened in 2001. So, but anyway, let's brighten this up a little bit and talk about some Bruins stuff or some topics that surround the Boston Bruins or the league in general. I got my notes. Where are they? Oh, here they are. So hey, this is something interesting, and it might not be like a hot topic for everybody, but there's people that want to bring a rail system that connects the Boston to Montreal, and it's a passenger rail in the works that could travel from Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and into Quebec. So it would go. I think what the path would be is it would go from Boston up to like Portland, Maine, or New Brunswick, where the Downeaster actually ends, and then turn westward, and then go into New Hampshire, into Vermont, and then up to Quebec. And I think that's a fantastic idea. I mean, if there's a way, Kevin? Let me ask you: do you still think there's a big rivalry between Boston and Montreal?
I think it is simmered, but there will always be that rivalry there. People will always get up for that type of game, and at some point, it's going to spark back up again.
Because I kind of think that they're gravitating to like the Toronto, Boston. That's the bigger rivalry now. But yes, something like this idea, and believe it or not, it will take 14 hours to get from Boston to Montreal, which is you can drive it in 6. But right. I think it's a fantastic idea, and it's a night train, so you'll get in Montreal in the morning, and you can have the whole day. But I think this is something that could really liven that rivalry up because of how people can travel. Now there's a way of easily getting down. You got your drink cart, you got your meal cart, and so on, and obviously you have sleeping quarters. I think it's a fantastic idea, and I hope it comes fast because I want to check it out because I want to go back to Montreal. Absolutely, St. Catherine Street is one of the best places for a guy like me who likes to have a little drink and some fun. So.
Right. And I believe, it's a sleeper train. So I believe it leaves Boston at 6 and then arrives in Montreal at 8 a.m.
Yes.
I believe that's the time frame there. And so basically, I mean, you're paying for this trip, but like you said, it can take, only like about 6 hours to drive straight through to Montreal. But if you take this train, I mean, you're only awake, say you do sleep, you're only really awake for, maybe the 6 hours of it. And the rest of the time you sleep. Yep. So, and it's like all the work's taken out. You don't have to drive there. You don't have to, have the tiredness of driving 6 hours straight. You can wake up rested and ready to get off the train and enjoy your day. And you didn't lift a finger. All you did was step on the damn train.
Exactly.
So I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I myself would definitely want to try that out for sure. I don't know how well I do sleeping on a train that's moving however fast it moves. I've never had to sleep while, well, actually, I mean, I've fallen asleep in cars, so actually, I mean, so never mind. Forget I said that, but, it's, it would be a cool experience. I've never had an experience like that, so that would be really interesting. I just got to get my passport. I've yet to get my passport. I have never left the country, so that would be a first for me, but I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, I'm totally down for a trip like that. But
B&G road trip.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That would be awesome. I wish it was during the day because I'd love to go see the scenery through Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and leading up to Montreal, Quebec. So, yeah, it's just something interesting that I wanted to talk about. I mean, news is kind of sparse right now as we're getting into the. As we're getting closer to the hockey season. So I saw the article yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I really want to talk about this because I think it will, I know a lot of people don't like to drive, and particularly, way up in Maine and so on. But if you are in Maine, Vermont, or New Hampshire, and you're up near this train where it might make a stop, it's just beneficial for the team to, that's just revenue. Because you're getting people to come down to the games and so on. You're getting people to come to each city. That's not, never mind the Bruins games or anything like that. It's just, that foot traffic, the additional foot traffic from people that are traveling. It's a benefit for the city of Boston and Montreal. So great. I think it'll be great. So I'm pumped, and hopefully it happens real soon. Another one I wanted to talk about was a little bit of news. The TD Garden is holding their third annual Break in the Ice fundraiser to benefit the DCR Charitable Trust Fund. Tickets are available at ticketmaster.com/TD Garden/break-in-the-ice-22. That's /break, the letter N, the ice 22. And there's 2 sessions available on Saturday. This is next Saturday, September 17th. One session is at 12 noon, and the other session is at 1 p.m. Tickets for skaters are $30, and for spectators that sit in the stands and want to watch a loved one tool around TD Garden rink is $15. And you must bring your own skates if you are a skater. I did this a couple of years ago, and it was awesome. I had a blast. Bucket list item checked off right there. It was an amazing time, and a good benefit for to be a part of. Kevin, have you ever done anything like that?
Yeah, I've played hockey games at the TD Garden, which was great. I've been to season ticket holder events where we were able to skate on the ice with Blades the Bear and all that, and so that was also a lot of fun. But one thing I can say is, if you're going to go and you are a hockey player or a figure skater or someone who knows great ice, you're not going to be too happy with the Boston Bruins ice. I will tell you that. I've skated on much better ice in my life. It's true that the Bruins ice really isn't that good.
Yeah.
It's really not. But it's still a wonderful experience to be able to skate over that logo at center ice and just look up. When you look up and you see all the stands and you see the Tron up above you and everything like that, it's an unbelievable experience. It really makes you feel this is what the players see when they step out onto the ice to entertain us every single year in the TD Garden, and it's a lot of fun. So if you can make it out and it's something you're interested in, I'd definitely do it. Just make sure your skates are sharpened.
Oh, yeah.
Freshly sharpened, because ice, I'm telling you, it is unforgiving.
No free ads here at all, but definitely go to your sports shop and get those blades sharpened up. Or if you have a Sparks machine, like I said, no free ads. Do it up, get the wheel going, because you're going to need it. And it's kind of interesting on how they do that. They get a bunch of people on there, they get the grooves going, and then they put more water on to kind of like it's a serious bond. And it's really interesting how they do it. And I wanted to go this year, and I wanted to interview one of the guys that do the ice, and just to get an explanation on audio and video about what the process is, because I think that's some content that some Bruins fans would really like to hear.
Yeah, absolutely, because it has to lay out as perfect as they can possibly get it. It's in the way they go about it. I would love to know too.
Absolutely. Hey, why don't we hear from Athletic Greens, my man?
I think you're right. I mean, our newest partner, Athletic Greens, has just the product to improve your everyday life. I started taking AG1 because I was sick of taking all those tasteless little pills every morning to get the results I wanted from my gut health and immune system. Now I've been on it for a couple months, and I love it. It doesn't taste like it's super healthy. It has kind of a mild tropical taste that I actually look forward to each morning. So what exactly is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All of those things. I personally use it in the morning to get my day started right. Just put it in my travel bottle and I'm ready to go. I have more energy to face the day, and my gut health has never been better. My family and friends ask me what my secret is to my lifestyle improvement, and I always tell them AG1. Need even more reasons to try AG1? I got you. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. It costs you less than $3 a day, so you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Kick it. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews and is recommended by professional athletes. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Wow. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/BNG. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/BNG to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Absolutely, and we love Athletic Greens, and they are with us for a little while. Hopefully, we can get another contract going with them, because they have a fantastic product. I've tried it. I want to get more regular on it, but I know my Courtney, she does it every day, and she really enjoys it. If you can get past that green color, it's actually not that bad at all.
It's true. It is true. Once you do get past the color of it, which I mean, I used to make shakes that were kind of in that color range of kind of that greenish brownish. So I'm kind of used to it, except those shakes that I used to make tasted like crap.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
This tastes really good. Yep. You really do feel like you're not really, drinking something that is good for you. It feels like you're like, oh man, I'm just drinking something that's bad for me. But no, it's really good for you. It's definitely helped me. And I think it can help a lot of people, especially if you have issues with your gut like I have had. I mean, it's really going to help you. Just cut out all that stuff that isn't helping you and add in something nutritional like AG1, and you're going to be good.
Absolutely. And well done on the ad read again, my man.
Oh, it's fine.
Getting back to some Bruins hockey talk, the Boston Bruins will be featured 14 times nationally on ABC, ESPN, TNT, ESPN Plus, and Hulu for the upcoming 22-23 regular season. So that's good news. The Bees will be seen everywhere. I know a lot of fans last year when the whole streaming thing went to Hulu, they were very confused on where to watch and so on. There's a lot of pandemonium online about I need to watch my Boston Bruins hockey. Why is this? Why are these people doing this to me? But do your due diligence and Google it, as our friend Dom Tiano would say, and hopefully Dom's doing well. He's been on a scouting mission a lot lately in the Ontario Hockey League, but we haven't been with him for 2 weeks, but hopefully we'll get him back on next week as we gear up for the Boston Bruins regular season. But good to have a lot of Boston Bruins on multiple assets when you're talking about television and how to view. So what are your thoughts on all that goodness?
I'm excited. Anytime I can watch a game that's nationally broadcasted to the world and my team gets a chance to shine in front of all those who feel like watching it, I mean, well, I shouldn't say the world, but the United States, I get excited for it. I mean, I feel it gives me that playoff feel too when one of those games happen, because typically you got Jack Edwards and you know, I love you, Jack, sometimes, but I mean, I always am excited to get up for a game that's nationally televised, and we got the Winter Classic. So
yes. I was at the first Winter Classic at Fenway, and it was a blast, but it wasn't what I expected. We bought seats that were behind home plate, and I was like pretty much the first one online. I'm just, I'm paraphrasing, but I was like, I got to get these tickets. So we got I think 12 rows from home plate right behind, and I was all excited and going in there. I was pumped and blah, blah, blah. Went to the Boston Beer Works, got absolutely loaded there, and then went into the game, and I was thoroughly disappointed because the lower you go at Fenway, it starts to level out. Yep. And all we could see were the players, upper chests in the helmets. Awful. And that was it. I was like, oh no! So we had to spend the whole day watching the game from the big screen out in center field.
At least you were there for the experience.
Exactly. You were there for the experience, and that's what a lot of fans are doing. Hey, it's a bucket list item I checked off as well. So a lot of fun, but it's good. It's good revenue for the league. It's good revenue for the city. I mean, I'm sure that the city's going to rack up a couple $1 million in all the foot traffic that's going to cause and for the local shops, bars, and restaurants. So yeah, I'm pumped for that too. I wish I had the money to go to the game, but I'm just going to watch from home. Just be safer.
I believe I'll be going this year. My first Winter Classic. Yeah, I believe this year will be my first. We'll see. Depends on ticket costs and how that all works out, of course. But I believe I'll be going, and I'm excited. I mean, I just went to a concert at Fenway. That was a lot of fun. Two different things, a hockey game and a concert, of course. But I'd like to experience a sporting event other than baseball at dear old Fenway Park. So it should be exciting. I'm just going to make sure I take your unintentional advice here and do not get seats at ground level.
Yeah, go up in the grandstands, go up high as much as you can. I mean, if your painting company is racking in the bucks, man, I would get the Green Monster seats, but those are probably real expensive. I haven't even seen the prices on those yet.
I can only imagine how much those would be, and I have no interest. I have no interest in how much those may cost.
Absolutely.
But maybe the field boxes that are a little bit more raised. That's where I sat for the concert I recently went to, and that was really good viewing. So nice. I think that'd be perfect viewing for a hockey game.
There you go. And from past episodes of the Short Shift Pod with our boy Thomas Nystrom, those guys, I believe, are getting together at that game as well. So you might be able to bump into them.
Oh, I'll bump. I will bump.
Thomas is a good dude, so.
Yeah, he is.
All right. Let's get back to another topic. And this one's interesting real quick before we get to the BOL ad read. Current NHL player and sports agent He's not a player, but he's a player agent. Alan Walsh provided some clarity on how much the NHL salary cap will go up in the near future. And this was a tweet that I wanted to bring this up a while ago, but I totally forgot. But I don't even remember when he did this, but he says in multiple tweets, he says, with so many NHL teams that are over the cap, and NHL revenues recovering from the pandemic quicker than expected and breaking records, why doesn't the NHL propose smoothing out the escrow debt repayment over the remaining years of the CBA? He later goes on to says, as it stands right now, the upper limit will rise only $1 million for each of the next 2 years, and then, this is the killer that got me, and then jump over $8 million in 2025-26. If you smooth out the escrow debt, it would allow the cap to rise $3.5 million each year in the next 3 years. And then he finishes up with NHL clubs will increase cap space to sign their Group 2s and won't be jammed for the next 2 seasons. Left with no alternative but giving away good players for no assets. Win-win for everybody. $8 million. That is huge. I wish we had that $8 million now. Because I think if we had the $8 million on when free agency started, I think those are the type of funds we could have to really put together a Stanley Cup team this season. I don't believe that this is on paper, I don't believe this is a Stanley Cup team at all. I hope it's a playoff team, but I think your Stanley Cup building club will probably be next season, maybe the season after that.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see that. I mean, and technically $10 million, because you got to remember the $2 million
That's
over
right.
the next 2 years.
My Amesbury math at its best.
No, but I mean, the way I look at that, I mean, you sign Pasternak to 9.5. Let's say you sign him to 9.5 over 8. Now that $10 million that supposedly the league will have for all teams, there's your Pasternak contract, and you now can spend what would have been there, and it's great. I mean, especially for a team like the Boston Bruins, who I wouldn't say they're in a bad situation at all. I think they are managing things very well, and a lot of that is due to Evan Gold and how well he's able to maneuver the cap. But give this team a buffer like that of another $10 million to spend. I mean, they can definitely do a lot. And then you have teams like Tampa Bay, who are currently sitting, I think, $7 million over, who could really use that right now. But they're not going to get it.
Kucherov's going to be injured the first day of the season.
Right, yeah.
LTIR, that shit, and then they're going to be all set.
Stamkos is going to break his other leg off a post or something.
Jesus.
I shouldn't say that. I don't want that to happen, obviously.
That was a horrific thing to see.
It was.
And that was during a Bruins game, wasn't it?
It was. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It was at the TD Garden.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm pretty sure it was at the TD Garden. I'm actually 99.5% positive.
Yeah. Yeah,
but,
definitely.
Yeah, that was wild.
More money is I mean, the league's just getting better. Things are working out, as Alan Walsh said in his tweets. I mean, it's just good things moving forward, I just really hope that this doesn't happen again and kind of cripple the league and especially cripple the American Hockey League, because believe it or not, that league down there took the beating of everything, because they're derived on asses in the seats, and when you close places down and you have the CDC doing this and that, and you're not making any money. So I mean, I honestly believe if they did not have a season last year, the American Hockey League would have folded.
Yep.
That's a hard reality,
Yep, and within the next 2 years, it's going to help the Bruins tremendously, because I mean, they're going to have players coming up. I foresee guys like Mason Lohrei being here by the time that money comes. Not saying that that's the reason why we need the money, but eventually you're going to have to pay that kid eventually down the road.
Yep.
Guys like Zaboral, I think he's going to break out. I think you're going to have to pay him something similar to a Carlo type deal at some point. And then you have guys like Jack Ashan, who could break out and possibly be that next, not Torrey Krug, because I think Jack Ashan won't be as good as far as offensively, but I think he'll be better defensively. So you're going to have a nice player there that's better than Grzelcyk, not as good as Krug, but in a really nice sweet spot. So you can pay him, and then you're not going to be able to pay your two top line centers a combined $3 million forever. So you're going to need some top tier centers there. Yep. I mean, this money will be coming at the perfect time, because I do believe that Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci after the season, barring no crazy injuries or anything like that, will probably want to come back and play another season and chase another cup. So this seems to be coming at the perfect time. Perfect time for this team.
And now is the perfect time to talk about our title show sponsor, betonline.ag. Football is back, and betonline.ag is your number one source for all your football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all the latest football odds, news, and game matchups, including this year's opening week's games. BetOnline.ag is your continued source for all your wagering information, including live betting, free contests, and live scores. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events, including Major League Baseball, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus on your first deposit. 100%. That went up from 50 last week. Make sure you use promo code CLNS50 to receive your rewards. That's CLNS50. BetOnline.ag. It's where the game starts. And we always love those guys at BetOnline.ag. Big fans of those folks over there. And talking about hockey and betting, you can go to betonline.ag, use that code CLNS50, and even get into the action before the season starts with some futures. The Stanley Cup odds are already out. There's conference odds, and there's also division odds on futures that you can bet on. And right now at betonline.ag, the Boston Bruins are a plus 2,800 to win the Stanley Cup. So if you drop $100, a Hondo, I call it, that's $2,800 at the end of the season if the Bruins win the Stanley Cup. A nice payday, in my opinion.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Appreciate betonline.ag as always. And, yeah. All right, my man, where do we go from here, sir?
Well, I'm assuming training camp is going to be started. We talked about this before we started rolling, because neither one of us have seen an official date on training camp, but we do know that the first preseason game will be the 24th. So not this week coming up, but the week following should be when training camp does start. That should be a full week, and then going into the preseason. So I think there's no time better than right now to start previewing certain aspects of the group. This week we can either do defense and goaltending, or we can do forwards and leave the latter for next week. Whichever way you want to spill it, I think that'd be something good to talk about right now.
Yeah. If I'm a guessing man, and the Bruins are always a little slow on getting things out, but I would have to say that training camp would probably start on Monday the 19th. And then possibly, because captain's practices are this week. So I'm thinking it's going to be September 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. So those are going to be captain's practices. And then they'll transition right into training camp starting the week after, leading up to that game on the 24th against the Philadelphia Flyers on the road. Yeah, so why don't we start with goaltending? I really think that this is a solid tandem, and I think we've probably said this many, many times about sticking it to the 1A and 1B. I'm really not a fan of giving Jeremy Swayman the full starting role right now. I know a lot of fans love him. They think he's great. He's going to be great. He's going to be an NHL star, I believe. But for me, he's just still a little too green. And I think that Linus Ullmark, now that he's got a full off season, he's got a full year already involved in the organization. I think that he's just going to be that much better going into 22-23. So I'm not worried about the goaltending at all. And I wasn't worried about the goaltending last year. It was everything in front of the crease that was a little sketchy, in my opinion. But I'm ready to rock and roll with this tandem. I think that if they work well together again, they could possibly be top 10 tandem in the league. I'm talking maybe even some Jennings trophy consideration, or maybe even in the top 5, like Tuukka Rask and who else?
Yaroslav Halak.
Yes, Yaroslav Halak. Thank you, my man. They did not too long ago. So, like I said, I think Goalie Bob and Mike Dunham are going to really work with these two a lot. Obviously, Mike Dunham's going to be filtering down to the prospects around the world as well, but still be around for that advice that's needed. And I'm really happy with the way the goaltending is going right now. I know a lot of fans, they look at that salary cap number and they see that we're 2.2 over and we have to be cap compliant by October 14th or whatever it is, and they immediately go to Ullmark's $5 million. It's like, why don't we shed $5 million off of the cap by getting rid of this guy? And I honestly think that it's a kind of a slap in the face to. And I know it's business. I totally get the business aspect of this organization and the other 31 teams in the NHL. But how would you feel if somebody came up to you and said, hey, we want to get rid of you? Would you waive your no trade clause? I don't see that happening. I mean, if it came down to later on in his career in Boston, that's Ullmark I'm talking about, maybe you have that conversation like, hey, the kid's ready. You're still really good and probably want to be a starter as well. How about if we move you and facilitate that for you? But until then, I don't see the Bruins doing that. And so many people have said it happens all the time. It happens, but I don't think it's as frequent as everybody thinks it does. So my thought.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. I think right now, Jeremy Swayman is in that 2010-2011 season that the Boston Bruins were in with Tuukka Rask. I feel like that is where he currently is as far as developing his game. I understand at that time Tuukka Rask had a little bit he didn't play as much, and his record, I believe, was only like 11-14 or something like that. But the talent was there for Tuukka. He just had some things he had to work out. Now, for Jeremy Swayman, the talent is there. He just has a couple of things he's got to work out. I think his record is going to be much better than 11-14, and I think he's going to, have way more starts than that, of course. I think he'll have a good season, a nice step into the next direction there. But I don't foresee him being able to be that true number one starter this year. And it will happen eventually. It definitely will. You can see in his attitude, the way he shows up, the way he works his ass off. The talent's there. The mental is there. He's going to get it all together. And it just takes time for goaltenders for the most part. I mean, Andre Vasilevsky, he didn't come into the league at 22, 23 years old and was a star. It takes time. So you got to allow that to happen. And Ullmark is the perfect guy for that. When you look at Ullmark's season last year, you got to remember, he came here having to, learn a whole new system, learn, new defensemen and players in front of him. He had to learn a new city, figure out where he was grocery shopping, where he was taking his afternoon walks, where he was going to be going to eat, all these things, kids going to school. There was so much on his plate in the beginning of the season leading into that, December area where he finally just, boom, everything clicked. And he just turned it on. And he was a very good goaltender for this team from December on. He was lights out, fantastic. Now you're getting into a year where he is used to it. He's here. He's going to be able to flourish right out the gate. So you're going to have yourself a really good goaltending tandem here. And like Mark said, it's going to be a 1A, 1B. They're going to split it most likely 50-50. Maybe one player gets 1 or 2 games more than the other. That could happen. But it's going to be a good year for goaltending. It might seem a little bit streaky to start, but that's because your defense is not going to be what your defense could be with both Grzelcyk and McAvoy out. And I'm not saying that verbatim, like that 100% is going to be the thing there. For all we know, Swayman and Ullmark could come out and post back-to-back shutouts to start the year. We have no idea. But it's going to be okay goaltending-wise, and you don't trade Ullmark. The reason why his contract is the way it is so if Swayman is ready to take over that role completely by himself and you can bring in a backup that would be cheaper and still be effective to what you're trying to do, that's when you can do that, because he'll have a 15 and a 16 team no trade list in the final 2 years of his contract.
Yeah, and what a bargain you have right now as a Boston Bruins organization, having 2 goaltenders under $6 million. I mean, to me, that's fantastic value right there, regardless of what the many say when you're trying to be cap compliant before October. And I know that's a sticking point for a lot of people. A lot of folks don't like Ullmark, and it's just, yeah, I don't either. I understand it.
He's a good goaltender.
I know, and I constantly tell folks on Twitter and the Facebook and other social media outlets that battle with me on the regular is, the hard fact is that Ullmark was one of the best free agent goaltenders out there, and the market was thin back then. It really was. So I just think that you need somebody like him, like you said, Kevin. You need somebody like Ullmark or a veteran that's 28, 29 years old to kind of work with Jeremy, to be that mentor and so on. The guy's been around the league for a couple of years, and Swayman's, he's been around too, but more or less green, still in his entry-level contract, which is in the last year of it. And we could talk about what he might garner for an increase after next season. So, I mean, but I'm happy with the way things are. But why don't we talk about that? So, last year of his entry-level contract, Swayman, what do you feel? Do you feel we should go long-term with him, or should we like crawl before we run and give him more like a 3 or 4 year type of bridge? I know 4 years aren't bridge deals, but 2 or 3 year bridge, see what we have, and if he's explosive, then go for the full 8 after that. I mean, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts currently where we are today, without seeing how he does this season with preseason and training camp and all that, I'm in the 3 year bracket, bridge deal type of way here. Now, let's say he blows our minds and he comes out this season and he proves that he is a number 1 starting goaltender in this league. He's up there with the best. He finishes up there with Shesterkin and Vasilevsky and Hellebuyck and Markstrom and Ottinger, who's another great young goaltender.
Yep.
If he's finishing up there, then yeah, you got to lock him down. You can't even risk losing this kid. I mean, even if it's like a 6-year deal, let's say a 6-year deal similar to something like Pasternak did, do a 6-year deal at, maybe 4, 5, somewhere in there, probably 5. It'd probably have to be about 5. And then you could look to trade Ullmark and get a cheaper backup to bring in and do more of like a 60-40 type deal. Or even a 70-30 if Swayman's ready for that. But I don't foresee that happening, so I'm all for the bridge deal. 3 years at, let's say, 3 mil around that area, between 3 and 4. I think that'd be a good sweet spot for him to continue to grow. And, and one more thing, too, about the whole Ullmark and Swayman thing. You want to trade Ullmark, but you got to remember, the situation you have, these two feed off each other. They make each other better every single day. They love each other. You don't hug somebody like that after a game if you don't love that damn person.
Exactly.
You take Allmark away from Swayman right now. What does that do to him? And I'm not saying he's mentally weak to where he would just, turtle and go into fetal position, but what does that do to his mentality when he's gearing up thinking, awesome, I got another season where I get to learn from this goaltender who's been here, and we're really good friends, and we have a chance to grow together. I mean, why would you want to take that away from him when there's other areas on this roster you can trim fat on? I mean, the left side of the defense is just extremely, overloaded. You can get rid of a player there to relieve some cap. Foligno, if you can try to find a way to get rid of him, you can get rid of cap there. Nosek, Smith, these types of players. You can shed salary. So the goaltending is off limits. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Jeremy Swayman?
I'm more in line with the like a 3-year bridge, and I want to use that Jake Ottinger kind of comparable when it comes to money. I think that the last report that I heard was that he was I think it was the 3.5 million range, 4 million range.
Yep.
Which to me that's a good comparable when it comes down to money. I'm not ready to like throw multi-years like an 8-year deal. No. I think that's too early for that.
Unless he wins the Vezina this year, no.
Right, but I still think Jeremy Swayman has a ton of upside, and I think he's gonna be a really good goaltender. But I just don't want to like invest a full 8-year term into him yet. He's got to prove it. I mean, win the big games, like win a playoff series, and that's the type of stuff that really goes hard on the negotiating table. And I think the 3-year deal would be perfect. That 3.5, 4 million. Just throwing numbers out there.
I agree.
But you definitely want to have somebody like that in the fold and you don't want to trade a goaltender like Allmark because you really have to look at your goaltending depth, including your prospects and in Providence, and it's not looking good. You have Keith Kincaid, who has played NHL games and is probably going to be a fantastic mentor to Kyle Kaiser. You have Brandon Bussey. He's probably going to Maine, I'm guessing, because I know they're not going to want to. Brian Mujanel's not going to want to roll a 3-headed monster down in the A. And then you get Philip Spederbeck, who's coming into Providence College this year, first year in the NCAA, coming from the USHL Dubuque Fighting Saints. And then you got Reed Dick, who I'm really high on. He's been playing preseason games. Like Dom Tiano, we all asked him if he's going to be at the Prospect Challenge when we interviewed him a couple episodes ago, and he said he's going to be there, and he's looking forward to that. So I think Reed's going to be a real good goaltender in this organization, and possibly be around for when Allmark is phased out, and Reed comes in and possibly be the backup for Swayman. So, I mean. Yeah, the goaltending is good when I'm talking about it, but it's really thin when you think about it. And I don't think a goaltender like Keith Kincaid is ready for. I don't know. I like Keith and everything, and he's a real funny guy on Twitter. But I'm not sure if he's the guy I want to rely on to even have a backup role. I would much rather see him in the American Hockey League, because I saw him plenty of times when he was playing for the Hartford Wolfpack. And he was really good. One of the better players for Hartford when they played Providence. So should be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I mean, there's nobody behind you that's going to be ready to go when if Allmark is released. So,
Mark, is it just me, or does Reed Dick just give you that 70s, 80s feel when you hear that name?
Yeah, it does.
Dick. It just makes you feel like the old-time Boston Bruins back. I mean, I wasn't alive in the 70s or 80s. I was born in the 90s, but I mean, you just think of that name. You automatically think, oh, he must have played in like the 70s.
Absolutely.
Or like the 80s. So his name just feels like a name that Boston Bruins fans will be talking about in 2040, 2050. 2060. You'll just be hearing, oh, remember that guy, Reed Dick, that amazing Boston Bruins goaltender who won a cup, Reed Dick. It has that feel for me, like that legendary Boston Bruins player. And luckily for him, he's got the skills to back it up. So hopefully he'll, because it was great talking with him. He's a great young kid. I think he's going to, I really think he's definitely going to be able to have a good career here in Boston.
And I wrote an article about Reed yesterday and published it on blackandgoldhockey.com, and just explaining about what good points that people were saying in the scouting staff of the Boston Bruins. Him not having good numbers. I mean, he was not a very good goaltender when you look at these stats and so on, because he was a backup. Now that Isaac Poulter signed an AHL-only contract with the Utica Comets, that opens up a door for Reed to go right in and pretty much secure that starting role for this season for Swift Current and possibly next season, which is just good development steps for a player like Dick. And I'm really excited. I'm going to order my CHL Live package, my streaming package, and I'm going to watch a ton of OHL games because, you got I can't remember, Ryan Mast. You got I can't remember that Edwards, Jackson Edward. You got Brett Harrison. Who was the second round pick that we interviewed?
Matthew Poitras.
Yes, Matthew Poitras. So there's a lot of action that's going on currently right now. These guys are all playing preseason games, and if I'm not mistaken, the CHL kicks off their season within days. I think it's this week, or even a little into next week. So looking forward to it, to watching those all these prospects.
And when you mention those numbers, when you talk about Reed Dick and the numbers he had and how it doesn't jump out as a good goaltender, I want to give a little example. Now, I'm not tooting my own horn here. This isn't what this is about, but it's a good example. In high school, to stay fresh for other sports, I played soccer, and I was a goaltender. I was a keeper in soccer. Now,
same here.
To start, I was on JV to start. When I came in 9th grade, 10th grade, those areas, our JV team was not good whatsoever. Defense was bad. Forwards were even worse. It was really bad, even the midfield, bad. So, I was getting a lot of shots on me. A lot of shots. More shots than any soccer goaltender probably has had on them ever. It was ridiculous. And I was letting in about 5, 6, 7 goals a game. But at the end of every single game, the opposing coach would come up to me and say, "You are the best goaltender we have seen in this, in this so far this season. You are incredible." Because I would be making crazy saves, unbelievable saves. I knew my positioning. I was good. I was good. And I'm not tooting my own horn. This is not something like that. It's just to show you, Reed Dick he's a fantastic goaltender. He's got good fundamentals. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
Yep.
But he was not in a good situation with that team. Right. And when you're in a situation like that, especially as a goaltender, all of those stats, that's all going to bleed back on you. And
Absolutely.
That was the sucky part, But, thankfully, he's had plenty of people in his life, kind of like how I did, come up to me and say, "Hey, I don't care about that final score. You are damn good. You are damn good." And then once I finally got into varsity and I had a good squad in front of me, I was getting shutouts, letting in 1 goal a game. I was doing really well. And it's because it's a team effort, and you can't just expect a goaltender to absolutely save your bacon every single minute of every single game. Yep. You can't expect it. It's a team game, and you're only as good as what's in front of you, and you're only as good as what's behind you.
Absolutely. When I was in high school, my goaltending coach, he said, "What do you do during the summer?" And I was like, "I like baseball." I don't like baseball now. I can't stand watching it, and I'm just 24/7 hockey, fully tapped in the veins. But back then, when I was a kid, baseball was important to keep me busy during the summer. But my goaltending coach said, I would highly recommend that you stop playing baseball and play soccer. He's like, go in goal and that way you can learn your angles throughout the summer and go right into the fall hockey training and so on with that mentality of, it's a big difference between goals, but the fundamentals of cutting your angles down and positionally being sound are still 1-1. So it is important. And, I learned a lot from playing soccer goal and so on. It was awesome to be able to use your hands and so on and pick the ball up and just rifle it, punt it right down the field. It was amazing.
Yeah. I can still punt the ball.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good. Pretty damn far. I mean,
absolutely.
Soccer goaltending was a lot of fun. And it really does teach you a lot, like you said, angles and depth. Yep. Because in both soccer and hockey, you have depth in the crease and you have depth in the box.
Yep.
You have to be able to – you can't be too far up to where someone could sail the ball over your head and it just drops into the net. You can't be too far up in the crease where someone can just go around you and pocket the puck right behind you and you're on your back. You need to be able to have that understanding of awareness of where you're supposed to be and when you're supposed to be there and have yourself in a favorable position to where you can make every save possible other than the perfect damn shot.
Absolutely.
Because there are those perfect damn shots.
Oh, yeah. Why don't we hear from Bruce Sullivan from Boston Sports and Music Memorabilia. He's got some amazing stuff to spice up that fan cave. More black and gold is needed. I see it everywhere. I know this creeps out Kevin every time, but I'm looking. I'm seeing everybody, and you need to spice up that fan cave. So
I got to run and close my blinds.
Please listen to Bruce and write down his information and get in touch with him because he's got some amazing stuff from the Bruins, the Red Sox, the Celtics, and the Patriots. All fully authenticated and real stuff. This guy doesn't screw around. But, yeah, let's listen to Bruce, and we'll talk on the other side.
Hey, this is Bruce from Boston Sports and Music with our Black and Gold Memorabilia Moment of the Week. On August 21st, we hosted 1980 Olympic gold medalist Ken Morrow.
Waking up the NHL to the talent that was in...
You're right.
I mean, U.S. college hockey was pretty much ignored before you guys came along.
I've heard, guys like Mike Modano and Billy Nairn and those guys all talk about that, as far as it opened the doors for a lot of those guys.
Right.
So we didn't know we were doing all that. I mean, keep having the guys play together all year and,
Right.
Made a big difference, You actually become a team.
1980 Olympic hockey gold medalist Ken Morrow is our Legend of the Week, and you can buy something from the Ken Morrow Legend Collection. Choose the Blue Style Gold Medal Game number 3, hand-signed by Ken Morrow with 1980 gold medal inscriptions, JSA authenticated, just $99 delivered. Or choose the White Style Miracle on Ice jersey, number 3, hand-signed, 1980 Miracle on Ice inscriptions. Once again, yours just $99 delivered. Or take home a Ken Morrow autographed Miracle on Ice puck, JSA authenticated, and yours for just $44. Or take home this JSA USA hockey puck, hand-signed by Ken Morrow, just $39. Or score with this Ken Morrow 8x10 JSA authenticated with 1980 gold inscription, yours for just $39.
Later in September, we are hosting former Bruin and Olympic gold medalist Dave Silk. We will have Silk jerseys for just $99 or pucks and photos for just $39. For more information on our dozens of hand-signed Bruins collectibles, visit us at our Facebook page, Boston Sports and Music Memorabilia, or email me directly at bostonsportsandmusic@gmail.com. And be sure to tune in each week right here to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Let's go!
All right, Beast fans, we're back. You just heard from the amazing Bruce Sullivan from Boston Sports and Music Memorabilia. check him out, and hopefully you wrote down his email address to get in touch with him to find out what he has for inventory, because he does have some fantastic stuff. And like I said before, it's all real. The guy doesn't screw around. Fully authenticated, hand-signed, right in front of him, videos and pictures taken. You can't get any more real than that. But we are back talking Boston Bruins. Let's wrap up on the goaltending talk. I know, Kevin, you wanted to bring something up before we head out of here for another week. What do you got, my man?
Yeah, let's put a bow on our preview for the goaltending, and let's go with a little bit of predictions on the goaltending and where we see it falling, as far as maybe, maybe record stats, whatever you feel like putting out there. It's the last minute, so we didn't really have time to kind of think about it, but I guess I'll start. I foresee, I'll start with Jeremy Swayman. I see him, being able to, I think he's going to get 41 starts. I think it's going to be an even split. So of those 41 starts, I could totally see him going like 30-11. I could totally see that with a fantastic save percentage in the .93s, the .930s, somewhere in that range. I think he's going to have a good year. Goals against, I think, will be right around 2. If not a little bit sub, maybe like 1.98, 1.99, just because of the start of the year and what they're starting with defense-wise. But I think this team has a really good chance at being solid defensively and solid in goaltending. I think there's a possibility he'll get around 4 to 5 shutouts this season for Jeremy Swayman. Ullmark, I see him, with his 41 starts, I see him winning somewhere in the 28 range, somewhere in the 25 to 30 range, not hitting 30, staying below it, so 25, 29, somewhere in that range, losing maybe, like somewhere between 12 and 16 or something like that. I think he'll have a good season. He'll be like maybe in that like .920 range, save percentage wise, possibly have a goals against, maybe like 2.2 around that area, probably get a shutout or two, but I think both goaltenders are going to be very good for this team, and they're both going to have great seasons. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the goaltending.
Those are solid numbers, absolutely, for Swayman. And not out of the realm of happening. But I could see Swayman going 225, possibly going, I could see him doing 30 and 11. Those aren't bad. But if you look at Ullmark, I can see Ullmark being a little higher in the goals against average at 2.50. Possibly a 925 save percentage. Well, I think Swayman could possibly garner a 930. That's pretty reasonable, but it's all going to be indicative on how these goaltenders do with the roster in front of them. Particularly, it's going to be a challenge the upcoming to start the year with McAvoy being out, Grzelcyk being out, Marchand being out. Riley, is he going to be healthy enough to go at the start of the year? Who knows? I'm hearing he's progressing pretty well, so he could start the year right off the bat. But I think we're going to have a really good tandem. And like I said earlier, I think that if they work hard together and just do what they did last year, I think that they could possibly just work their way up to like some a Jennings Trophy mention. Being in the top 3 in the league for a tandem is not that bad. I'm not sure about Vezina or Vezina or however you want to say it. I always say it wrong.
Vezina.
Yeah, Vezina, the Vezina Trophy. I don't think Swayman's going to get that because you got goaltenders like Vasilevsky and Shesterkin from New York. I don't know about that, but when you concern yourself with goals against average and as a team goals against average, yeah, I could see Swayman and Ullmark getting some Jennings accolades, but that's just me.
I agree. And next week, Mark and I talked about it. We're going to do a preview for the defense as well as the offense. We're going to do that in, an episode, because we do believe training camp will start, not next week, but the following week on that Monday. So that is something to look forward to, and we'll finish up pretty much, seeing how this roster is going to unfold. And then then that's when we're really going to be starting up, because we get to talk about how these players are doing in training camp, how they're doing in their preseason games. We get to do our season previews. We get to do all that stuff. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff here, and I'm super excited.
Absolutely. And as we get closer to Season 7 of the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast, we are still in Season 6, so we're not ready to transfer yet. I do want to mention that we're bringing back the jersey giveaways. We're not going to be doing any more the weekly giveaways anymore, because we have a lot of listeners and fans and supporters that support us financially on our Patreon account, which you can donate $1 to patreon.com/Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. But there's a lot of new Patreons that are outside the country, and shipping, logistics, and so on weekly, I just don't have time for, nor the money. Because we were giving away pucks every week and stuff like that, hand-signed pucks from players. And, a puck could cost $25, $30, but to ship it was an extra $40 to England. And we just can't do that, because we want to have enough money to keep rolling over and keeping our Patreon financial supporters happy. So we're going to keep the jersey giveaways. We're going to do that every month starting in October. And then, and we'll put some B&G merch in there, like a T-shirt or something like that to show our appreciation. But we're not going to be doing the weeklies anymore, because I just don't have time nor the funds to do it. But we certainly appreciate that. And obviously, we certainly appreciate more Patreon supporters, so we can do more things like these jersey giveaways and keep it going monthly. It was a little hiatus because I wanted to save some money and just do a big buy. So your money is not going to anything else but purchasing more hand-signed jerseys from Bruce Sullivan from Boston Sports and Music Memorabilia. So it's a fun thing to do, and it really helps us pay the bills here at the Boston, at the Black and Gold Production Sports Media Company. Tongue-tied there a little bit. It's Sunday. It's beautiful out, and I'm ready to... Yep. You're ready for football, and I'm ready to watch a hockey game somewhere.
Oh, I'm ready for some football, my man. I know you're not, but I am.
I know. All right, well, that is episode 296. We want to thank our show sponsors, betonline.ag. We want to thank Athletic Greens. Please go to athleticgreens.com/BNG and take a hold of your immune system and do what's right. Your gut needs it. And also Boston Sports and Music Memorabilia. Bruce Sullivan is always a fantastic guy to work with, and so on. But that is episode 296. I'm your host, Mark Allred, and that is Kevin O'Keefe right there. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Peace the F out.
Peace out.
Thanks again for tuning in and supporting this week's episode of the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Please give the show a 5-star rating and write a review on listening platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. If you'd like to contact the show for advertising opportunities or to send us a question or topic idea we should be discussing, please send us an email to blackandgoldproductionsllc@gmail.com. Don't forget to share our program on your social media platforms with other hockey fans, and follow our Twitter accounts at Black and Gold Pod, at BNG Productions, at Black and Gold 277, and at Kevin_O'Keefe89. Also, please don't forget to check out our official blackandgoldhockey.com website, where we cover the Bruins organization from the NHL level down to the prospects worldwide. Peace out.